Hi there, we are back at Robinson Community Garden. It is a lot warmer than the last time we were here, so I'm really excited to bring you just a little bit longer of a practice. And all of you gardeners out there, this is for you. So I've been thinking about you lots lately because I live a little bit more in town, so I've been doing some urban gardening in my driveway, but I've actually made it quite nice. So I've dug up every little bit that I possibly can to plant anything in there I can to grow up the fences and all sorts of things like that. So I have noticed in myself, and I grew up gardening, so I know that our joints can get a little bit stiff by the end of the day, and our wrists and our elbows, and especially the knees from kneeling and coming up and down quite often. So this one's for all you gardeners out there. So let's begin in a seated shape. So we'll bring ourselves onto our mats, coming into some sort of seat. Maybe a cross-legged makes the most sense for you. Maybe extending the legs toward the front of the mat makes sense for your body today. So just making sure we have some sort of equal balance in our sit bones. So in our bum cheeks, in those little bones that balance in between the fleshy parts of our seat. So just starting to grow up from those bones. Imagining our tail is sort of sticking outwards behind ourselves. So we're scooping up through the tail, lifting our breath through our upper chest in our rib cage. And on our exhales, we're gently just tugging the belly toward the ribs, toward the back of the spine, or toward the front of the spine, depending which way you're sort of visualizing your body. And just feeling nice and tall in our breath. Maybe I'll turn myself around. There's a little bit of wind coming in this way, so hopefully it'll help with the sound. So staying in your seated shape. Allowing our knees to spread outward, allowing our thighs to spread outward, feeling a really comfortable base. A little bit of softness in our hip flexors. So lifting up through the chest, maybe closing the eyes too, just to take away any kind of distractions. You may be able to hear some of the farm activities around me, a little bit of tractor noises, a little bit of birds. Just to the left of me is a big pumpkin patch, and just in front of me is a lot of potatoes and carrots and rutabaga. And they're just spending some time planting onions today. And this place has changed so much since the last time we were here. Just thinking about what a couple of weeks can do of rain and sun. And just enjoy yourself sitting here, gently breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Trying to settle more and more in the base of the spine, more and more into our root and our base of our body. Maybe feeling just a little bit lighter in the top portion of the body, especially taking those inhales into the upper chest and into the rib cage. Just lifting up nice and tall, and exhale to pull the belly gently toward yourself. Feel broadness in the back of the body. Feel steady, finding a little bit of structure in our seat, but a lot of softness. Relax the shoulders, the base of the neck. And with our eyes open or closed, take our arms up to the sky, reaching up toward the ceiling, or toward the sky. Exhale, hands to the center of the chest. And let's take another big sun breath, reaching up toward those clouds. And exhale into the center of your chest, the heart space. Keeping our hands at the heart center, starting to spread the fingers really wide. So bringing the thumb in toward the sternum, the pinky as far away from the sternum as possible. Pointing our elbows in either direction, letting the shoulders release from the base of the neck. Spreading those fingers as wide as you're able to. Press into the palms so you're able to spread those fingers a little bit wider. And take another couple breaths here, really stretching out those fingers and our wrists, the tops of the hands, the insides of the palms. And we're going to peel away the thumb from the chest, starting to point the pinky downward toward our pelvis. Taking a couple breaths here with our wrists turning upward, kind of spinning into our forearms, stretching through the tendons into the elbows. And let's bring those thumbs back toward the sternum. Let's go into a flow. Inhales, we bring them back up. And exhale, pointing the pinky down. Inhale, pointing up, maybe even resting the blade of the wrists on the belly. Exhale, pointing down. Inhale, pointing up. And exhale, releasing down. Inhale, back up. And then just starting to open up the hands, placing each fingerprint against its friend or its twin, placing it underneath and just pressing those fingers toward one another to stretch the insides of the hands. And then bringing the fingertips back toward each other. Inhale, opening up, spreading wide. And exhale, just joining the fingertips toward each other. One more time, inhale, to spread your fingers really wide, stretch into those palms, and then guide them back toward each other. Bring your arms up toward the ceiling. Exhale, arms along our side. Beautiful. Releasing our right arm down along our side toward the ground or toward the mat. Inhale to reach our left arm up alongside the ear. Take a nice good breath here to reach that arm up nice and long. Inhale to reach a little bit more up toward that sky. And exhale, bending into the right elbow, hinging yourself over toward the right side. Pressing the mat away from you or the ground away from you with the right hand so that you can better open up the side waist, the left side waist, and rib cage and side body. Let's take 3 more breaths here, really opening up the side body. We tend to bend forward quite often while we're gardening, so let's try to open up the side as much as we can, really making space for core strength. On your next inhale, press into the right hand so you can bring the right arm up and come up toward the center. Exhale, hands toward the center of the chest. Beautiful. Inhale, reach those arms up. And exhale, bring them down nice and wide along our side, finding our left set of fingertips or the palm toward the ground. Inhale to reach the right arm alongside the ear. Take a breath here as you reach. On your next inhale, reach as high as you possibly can to the ceiling. And exhale, start to bend into the left elbow, hinge yourself over to the left side, and push the mat away from you, the ground away from you with the left hand, so we can open up that right side body. Let's find lots of space all the way around. Opening ourselves up from being so hunched over and closed over while we're gardening. Inhale to reach up, both arms up toward the ceiling. And exhale to the center of the chest. Beautiful. Inhale, reach up, one more nice big sun breath. And exhale down toward the center of the chest. So bringing our right arm forward, just pointing our palm toward the ground and our arm just at shoulder height in front of the body. Taking the left hand, bringing it to the outside of the forearm, making sort of a paddle with the hand and just pressing downward and resisting the push with the right arm. So we're pushing the right arm into the left hand and the left hand into the right arm. So let's find that tension, keeping the arm at shoulder height. Feeling that energy all the way down our arm, in both arms, inside of the left, top of the right. 2 more breaths here, pushing the forearm into the hand into the forearm. 1 more, relax the shoulder downward. And then release. Inhale, arms come all the way up and sweep. Exhale, hands to the center of the chest. Extending that right arm again, turning the palm up toward the sky, placing the left palm on the inside of the forearm this time. So resisting in the same way, pushing the forearm into the hand and the hand into the forearm. So let's take a few breaths here. Notice maybe there's a little bit of shaking muscle here. Maybe there's just a couple little tiny muscles that are talking a little bit more than they usually do. Let's take 1 more nice good breath with palm faced up. Push. Arm at shoulder height, relax the shoulder downward if you're able. And then release, and the arms come up on your inhale. Reach up as high as you can. Exhale, hands to the center of the chest, and then release the palms down onto the knees or in the lap. Close the eyes and just release the shoulders. Take a moment to feel the difference in each side of the body. Notice the right arm and the left arm, the differences in those muscles and in those tendons and joints. Maybe we feel the shoulder socket a little bit more. Maybe we really feel the forearm muscles a little bit more. Beautiful. Inhale, reach up, big sun breath. Exhale, bring those palms down to the heart space. Let's do the other side. So sending the left arm out shoulder height, placing the right palm on the outside of the forearm. And then just starting to press downward as you push the forearm up into the hand. Trying to relax the left shoulder downward if you're able to. So resisting that urge to bring it down or up. Pressing the palm down, pressing the forearm up, keeping the arm at shoulder height, listening to all the farm activities around us. Let's go for just a few more breaths here. Really push in and push down. Activating so many muscles in our arm. Beautiful. Release. Inhale, draw the arms up, big sun breath. Exhale into the heart space. Notice that looseness in the arms, a little more space. Feels like our arms are a bit longer. So let's extend our left arm yet again. Palm faces up this time. Placing our right palm on the inside of the forearm this time, so right onto the soft portion. So again, relax the left shoulder if you're able to. Keep the shoulders square with each other. Inhale through the upper chest. Exhale as you pull the belly in. Press into the forearm into the hand. Maybe it feels a little bit different in the left arm. Maybe we're primarily right-handed, so this could feel quite different. So 2 more breaths here. Steady breath here. Inhale through the chest. Exhale, pull that belly in. 1 more nice good breath. Inhale, reach the arms up, big sun breath. Exhale, hands to the center of the chest. Beautiful. Let's walk over top of our legs and come into an all-fours shape or tabletop shape. Just finding ourselves in a stacking sort of way, so making sure that our wrists are under our shoulders, our knees are under the hips, and maybe it feels useful to you to tuck the toes and just feel a little stability here. Pressing the ground away from you with the palms, feeling the finger pads, feeling the edges of the wrist, feeling a little bit of the palm, and then maybe leaning forward slightly so the shoulders are a little bit over the wrists and forward of the wrists. Again, press the ground away, so maybe we can feel and identify a little more space in the center of the shoulder blades. Maybe a little more broadness or a little more bloom in the breath in the back, if that makes sense. A little more swell. Beautiful. Inhale through the upper chest and exhale as you pull the belly in toward you. Press the ground away. Gather your core muscles up into the body. And our next inhale, let's turn the tail up toward the sky. Let our belly drop toward the earth. Pull the mat toward you to lift the chest and the chin forward. Exhale as you round the tail in toward yourself. Round the spine. Tuck the chin in toward the chest. Press the mat away from you into your cat. Let's do a few rounds of cat-cow here. Loosen up the spine. Inhale, pull the mat toward you, and then exhale to round through. And just a couple more times, honoring the pace of your breath, the rhythm inside your body. Maybe we're able to find a space outside to practice today, feeling the wind on our skin, the sun, and smelling the grass, the trees. Beautiful. Coming back to a neutral shape when we feel ready for it. If our toes aren't tucked, let's tuck those toes. Send our hips up and back into a downward dog. So lengthening out the legs, pressing into the palms, pressing into the fingerprints, the ridges of the hands, the edge of the wrist. Finding our heels in contact with the ground, if that feels nice to start with. Just lengthening out those hamstrings, pressing the heels away from the hips. Inhale through the upper chest. And exhale to pull the belly in, maybe pressing into those palms a little more, tilt the tail a little bit more. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and kind of bring ourselves forward. So come up onto the balls of the feet. Ripple yourself forward. Press the ground away from you as you start to come forward. So really rounding out that upper portion of the spine. Allowing ourselves to keep coming forward. Bend through the elbows. The shoulders come forward. The hands in line with the rib cage and down to the belly. Unflip those toes. Pull the mat toward you. Bring the gaze up toward the sky. Opening up into a cobra or possibly an upward dog, pressing into the tops of the feet, shining the heart toward the sun. Beautiful. Exhale to lower back down. Tuck our toes, hips up and back, downward dog. Take a few breaths here. Pedal the heels, sway the hips. Find a little bit of movement in your down dog. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and look between our thumbs, have a hop or step toward the hands into a comfortable forward fold. So maybe that means we come into a half lift to place the hands on the shins and support the low back. Maybe we bend the knees, place the backs of the forearms on tops of the thighs, the palms face up, and we just lean the weight a little bit forward, taking a lot of weight out of the low back. One more nice good breath in a forward fold of your choice or a half lift of your choice. If we're in a forward fold, let's really release the neck and the head and the shoulders. Inhale, a half lift, reaching the rib cage forward, and exhale to pull the belly in toward you and fold a little deeper. Inhale to roll up, take your time, bend the knees, hinge the hips, let the whole upper body be super heavy, tuck the chin in, the shoulders cave in. We start to straighten out the legs, just to bring those shoulders on top of our hips, reaching the chin up to a 90 degree, letting those shoulders roll open, palms roll open. In our mountain pose, let's take a big sun breath. Inhale, arms reach up toward the sky. Exhale, hands to the heart center, bend the knees, hinge the hips, and come into a forward fold. Take a couple breaths in a forward fold as our tractor rolls on by. In through the nose, out through the nose. Beautiful. Now you can hear me a little bit more. We'll inhale, a half lift, send the heart forward. Exhale, tuck the belly in toward you and hinge through those hips. Inhale to rise, push yourselves through the feet and arms come all the way up toward the sky. Exhale, hands through the center of the chest. Beautiful. Let's take a big inhale as we reach up. Link the fingers together above the head. Press the palms toward the sky. Reaching up as high as we can. Our feet are hip width apart. And we're feeling through the outer edges of the feet, the pads of the feet, so the balls of the feet just below the toes, the heel, and we're reaching up, feeling really long on both sides of the body, finding length as much as we can. So bringing the rib cage in toward yourself and bringing the belly in on your exhale to reach up. There might be a tendency to send the rib cage forward. Let's see if we can bring the rib cage in. Beautiful. Take a great big inhale as you press the palms toward the sky, and then exhale, feeling out the outer ridge of the right foot as you lean toward the right, opening up the left side body and the left side waist. So really finding just an angle, finding just a reach here. Beautiful. Inhale back toward the center when you feel ready to lift up and to lengthen the spine. And then exhale, feeling out the outer blade of the left foot as you start to press those palms, shine those palms on an angle toward the left. Feeling that right side waist open up for you. Feeling some space a little farther down. Finding a little bit of freedom in the hips. Inhale to reach back up toward the center. Exhale to turn the palms back in and draw them into the heart space. Just taking another breath here. Start to walk the feet closer toward one another. So we'll snuggle our feet toward each other, maybe snuggle those big toes and separate the heels slightly. Bringing the knees together, we'll start to bend the knees, send the hips behind yourself as you reach the heart forward. So coming into a chair shape or a sans chair shape, a no chair shape. Reaching that tail back, reaching the rib cage forward. Press the rib cage forward as much as you're able to. Maybe hands stay at the heart center. Maybe we reach the arms alongside the ears, maybe sitting a little bit deeper. Again, the tail sneaks behind ourselves. The heart reaches forward. Press the knees toward each other if that helps you feel that strength of the inner line of the legs and the midline of the body and the core. So let's take one more breath, reaching those arms up, stretching through those arms, and then exhale, forward fold, tip yourself forward and let your hands dangle down toward the earth. Let's take another moment here. Let's inhale, a half lift, send the rib cage forward, reach away from the hips. Exhale, pull the low part of the belly in toward yourself and see if you can hinge a little deeper, maybe bend the knees slightly. Inhale, a half lift again, maybe fingertips to the ground in front of the feet, reaching the rib cage forward, and exhale, pull the belly in to fold deeply. Inhale to reach ourselves back into that chair pose. So let's bend the knees, shift the weight back and toward the heels, send our tails behind ourselves, scoop the arms up alongside the ears, reach the rib cage forward. This time pressing into the feet to bring ourselves to standing, reaching the arms all the way up toward the sky. Exhale, arms along the side of the body. Let's do that again. Hands toward the center of the chest, go into your chair pose. Send the tail behind yourself, the rib cage forward. Inhale to reach the arms alongside the ears, and then stand up really straight. Exhale to release the palms along our side. So again, hands toward the heart center, sit into your chair pose. Inhale to reach the arms alongside the ears. Inhale to continue that inhale all the way up to standing, and exhale, arms along our sides. Back into our chair pose, bring the arms or palms toward the center of the chest, send the tail behind and the heart forward. So I'm starting a different sort of flow here, so let's circle the arms up as we push ourselves up. Exhale, hands to the heart center, into the chair shape. Let's keep flowing this way. Inhale, reaching up. So really good for our knees here. Exhale, coming back into the heart space. And just go with the rhythm of your breath, honor your breath. Slow it down if you need to. Speed it up if you'd like a little bit of cardio or a little bit of energy through the body, a little bit of heat. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale to the center of the chest. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, squeeze those knees together. Hands to the center of the chest. 2 more. Inhale, reach up, squeeze the knees. Exhale, squeeze those knees into your chair. 1 more time. Inhale to reach. Low back waking up. Exhale into our chair shape. Stay in our chair shape, drawing the thumbs into the sternum, the center of the chest. Tail behind ourselves, rib cage forward. Looking over to the left side, to our left shoulder, and then maybe bringing the outside of the right arm to the outside of the left thigh, keeping those knees parallel to each other. So having the knees closer together can really help us not have to think about that too much, which is really nice. If you notice that your arm bone is just quite not long enough on the right arm, we can just open up the arms, pressing the arm into the left leg so that you can twist a little more here. You can look in whatever direction feels interesting for you. Maybe sitting a little bit deeper, still sending the rib cage forward, tail back. Beautiful. 1 more breath, squeezing out, feeling through the knees. And inhale back toward the center. Exhale, tip your weight forward and come into a fold. So just notice in the knees what you feel. Squeezing out the joints, leveling the lactic acid in the body. Make sure you drink lots of water before and after your classes. Drink some water after class. Inhale, a half lift, rib cage forward. And exhale, fold, hinge, soften. Inhale to reach all the way up. Reach toward the sky. Exhale into your chair shape. Squeeze the knees toward each other. Send the rib cage forward. Send the tail back behind yourself. Take a moment here, squeeze those knees. Notice the outsides of the legs, the inner line of the legs. Have a look to the right shoulder. And then maybe bringing the left arm to the outside of the right thigh. Let's take a moment here, squeezing those knees, making sure they stay parallel. If we notice our arm's not long enough, let's open up the wingspan, sending the right arm toward the sky, and then looking in whatever direction feels good for you, feels valuable for you here. 2 more great big breaths. Bring the hands in toward the heart center and exhale to tip your weight forward, coming into a folded shape. Let's release the neck and shoulders. Take the feet hip width apart or a little bit wider. Maybe bend the knees a little bit too. You can hold on to the opposite elbows or the nape of the neck. In through the nose and out through the nose. You might be able to hear some of our volunteers arriving to help weed the garden and plant some of those onions that we talked about earlier. So you can come volunteer at the garden anytime you'd like. Just get in contact with them through the email. So that's how we've been coming here too. My friend Julie is in charge of all the community events. Very easy and lovely to talk to, so reach out to Julie to come to this lovely space. Let's inhale, half lift, rib cage forward. And exhale, bring the belly in toward you. Let's bend the knees so much so we can plant our palms down on the ground and step back into a plank shape. So take your time. Maybe the knees come down for a little less weight in the low back. Pressing the ground away from you. Pressing through the feet, leaning a little bit more forward than we're used to perhaps. Pressing the ground away a little more to round a little more. Bring the belly in toward yourself. Stay here for a few breaths here, strengthening up, finding a little bit of that core strength we talked about earlier. So spending just a few more breaths here. So one of the really lovely things about this place is it's a total non-for-profit organization. They help feed people in need, free of charge. So it's all volunteer-based. So it's a really lovely way and space to practice yoga and to volunteer my time. Beautiful. Let's push back to downward dog. Send the hips up and back. Lengthen out the backs of the legs. So walk them in if you need to. And just take a moment to sway a little back and forth. So taking away a little extra weight on those wrists. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. And then lowering the knees down, bringing them nice and wide. Unless you have a little low back chatter, bring the knees together. Otherwise, let's bring the knees apart. Bring the tops of the feet down and send the hips back toward the heels. Just walking the hands forward. Hopefully we have some space to lay our forehead down. If we don't find space, that's an easy fix. We can stack our forehead at the back of the hands or stack the fists underneath one another. So just taking a moment here to feel a little release and softness through the back body. If you'd like to, and the forehead reaches, maybe we reach our hands really far forward and feel both sides of the body, that length. Maybe we use the grip of the mat or the grip of the ground to push the mat away from you to help the hips come back toward the heels, or pulling the mat toward the front. Pulling the mat toward you, rather, so that you can feel maybe a little more space between the ribs and the hips. So you decide here what you need, and we'll stay here for 3 more nice, good breaths. In through the nose, out through the nose. Feel that spaciousness in the back of the body. Find that freedom of space inside. Imagine those gardens and fields and animals all living inside of your own body and your own experience. Imagining you're here with me doing yoga on the farm. Let's take another breath or so to bring ourselves back into a tabletop shape, back into an all fours shape. So take your time on how you want to get there. Move really slowly. Be kind to yourself as you transition from posture to posture. Tucking the toes, sending our hips up and back into that downward dog shape. So revisiting the downward dog after a little bit of rest in a child's pose. Let's add a little bit more heat here, a little Vinyasa Flow. So you always have the option here to lower the knees if that serves you a little bit better today, or if it's just that time of day where you need that, feel free. So we'll inhale, draw ourselves forward into a plank shape, shoulders over the wrists, and then pushing a little farther so they go a little beyond the wrists. Exhale, bending through those elbows, floating down. Inhale, coming into a back bend, choosing maybe a baby cobra, maybe an upward dog. And then exhale, come up and back to a downward dog shape. So let's do that flow a few more times together. I'll make sure I instruct you each way. So inhale to our plank shape. Exhale to come down into a chaturanga. Inhale, coming into a back bend. Pull the mat toward you if that's helpful. Exhale to lower back down. Inhale to tuck the toes. And exhale up and back, downward dog. There goes that tractor again. Let's take another one. Inhale into a plank shape. Exhale to lower ourselves down. Inhale, coming into a back bend of your choice. And then exhale, coming back to a downward dog. Beautiful. Now that we feel just a little bit warmer in our larger joints, inhale the right leg up and back. Exhale the knee toward the chest. Pull the foot through, press the foot in toward the earth in between those hands. spin out the left set of toes, anchoring through the heel. Inhale, the arms reach up, coming into a warrior one shape. Pressing the front knee away from your belly so we can lift up a little bit higher. So finding a little grip into the ground or the mat. Relax the shoulders. Take a breath in your warrior one. Beautiful. So inhale, spin ourselves open to warrior two. So just turning the chest toward the side. Adjust the feet as needed. The knee over the front ankle. Pressing those fingers away from one another. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale through the rib cage to lift away from the hips. And exhale, soften that belly. Inhale to reverse warrior. Scoop the right arm up toward the sky, the left arm back. And then exhale, drawing the front forearm toward the front thigh, reaching the left hand alongside the left ear. Fingertips to the front of the mat. Inhale back to warrior two. Exhale, windmill yourself all the way back down, coming onto the ball of the foot of the left foot. Beautiful. Exhale here. And inhale, picking up the right arm, coming into a twist, planting through the left hand, reaching up and looking whatever direction feels interesting for you. Hugging the right knee in toward the thigh so that we may twist a little more into the rib cage. Beautiful. Take one more breath here in your twist. Exhale to bring the hand back down. Step on back to your plank shape. Take a moment here. Press the ground away from you. Inhale when you're ready. Exhale, lower yourself down. Inhale, come into a back bend, lifting the heart up toward the ceiling. And exhale back to your downward dog shape. Find a little pedal, find a couple breaths. Revisit your downward dog. Find your breath. Inhale, reach that left leg up and back when you feel ready. Exhale, knee toward the chest, step the foot through, coming into the lunge. Turning the back foot out. Inhale, reaching up to warrior one on the other side. Pressing that left foot away from you so you can lift the rib cage a little bit higher. The belly away from the thigh. Taking a couple breaths in your strong warrior on the other side. Beautiful. Next, inhale, opening our chest up toward the side of the mat. Stepping back if you need to, finding the feet in alignment a little bit better for your body, maybe in a T shape or heel to heel. Reaching the fingertips away from one another. Letting the shoulders dip down, breathing through the upper chest. Exhale, pulling the belly in. Inhale, reverse the warrior. The left arm comes up, the right arm back. And then exhale into your extended angle. So the left arm, forearm comes to the front leg. We reach the right arm up alongside the ear. Taking a couple breaths here. Pressing into the back of the forearm so that we can feel length in the neck at the same time. Beautiful. Inhale back to warrior two. And then exhale, windmill ourselves all the way back down into that sort of lunge shape, and we'll step back to a plank pose. Lower the knees if you need to, if you like to. We'll take a Vinyasa Flow and meet our way into downward dog. Or if you feel like going right back into downward dog, feel free to do that. Beautiful. Taking a moment here to breathe, a couple breaths. Wonderful. Look between our thumbs. Let's have a hopper step toward the top of our mat, toward the hands, into a comfortable forward fold. Inhale, a half lift, rib cage forward. And exhale, belly comes in and we fold deeply. Inhale to rise, arms all the way up toward the sky. Exhale, hands to the center of the chest. Beautiful. Let's do one more focus on our knees here. Our quads and our knees, so nice strong muscles, but also really strong joints that need to stay healthy so that we can get onto the ground and be in a squatted position for much longer. So making sure our feet are hip width apart, finding a mountain shape, shoulders over hips, hips over heels. Turning the palms outwards, perhaps letting those shoulder blades slip down the back. Shifting our weight over to the right leg and just letting the left knee bend, reaching with the left hand to the left ankle. pointing our knee, the left knee, toward the ground. Flexing through the heel, if that feels like it feels just a little more secure, it kind of feels like a little shelf. Bringing our right hand to the right hip. So just take a nice good breath here, flexing through the left heel, and kind of pushing the ankle, into the hand. And then maybe bringing the knee a little bit beyond, a little bit past or behind the right leg. So pressing really firm into the right foot so we feel really long in the right side of the body. And then just opening up the quad, opening up the back leg. If it feels interesting to add a little more balance, balance is also really, really good for us here. So let's reach the right arm alongside the ear and just reach it up toward the sky. Let's keep that reach toward the sky and then just start to send the leg behind you. So press the heel into the ankle into the hand, extending through the quad, reaching, pressing, reaching the ribs and the heart forward. So we're more reaching the right hand up toward the sky, sending the rib cage forward as we bring that leg behind ourselves. So let's just take a couple breaths here in a little bit of a modified dancer's pose, feeling really long in the right side of the body, pressing that ankle into the hand to maybe tip and lift the rib cage a little bit more forward. Maybe we kind of lock up the right kneecap or kind of lift the quad muscle up to stay still. And then as we exhale, let's bring ourselves back toward the center, releasing the right arm along our side, letting go of that left ankle and stepping toward the side. Just go for a little walk and notice the difference between each foot. Beautiful, bringing yourselves into that center space again. Feet hip width apart. Big sun breath to find that center line. Exhale through the center of the chest. Shifting our weight over to the left foot. And then just reaching up through that left leg, so really pressing the ground away from yourself so you feel almost as if the left side of the rib cage kind of lifts up and away from the hip. And then reaching for the right ankle. So finding just the ankle here if we can, maybe the top of the foot. If we found the ankle, flexing the ankle so we have a little bit of an L shape here to hold on to. Beautiful. Bringing our left hand to our hip just to feel a little balance. Pointing the right knee toward the ground. Pressing the ankle into the hand. So starting to feel a little length in the quad, just a little bit here. Still breathing in through the center of the chest. Exhale, pulling the belly in. If it feels interesting to add a little more balance, bringing the left arm alongside the left ear, reaching the hand up toward the sky, reach, reach, reach. Beautiful. Then maybe starting to bring that right knee beyond the left leg behind, pressing the ankle into the hand. Reaching the rib cage forward, maybe bringing that leg a little bit farther behind yourself, still reaching upward with the ribs, upward with the heart, and upward with the hand. Pressing the ankle into the hand. Spending 3 more breaths here. Just letting yourselves tip upward. Reaching back, maybe even stretching into the right shoulder. Finding nice, good strength and length in the back body. 1 more good breath here, reaching up, rib cage tips. And then exhale, hand comes down, we come back toward the center. Release that right ankle and maybe step side to side and see how you feel. Beautiful. Inhale, arms raise up. Big stretch. Exhale, hands to the center of the chest. Inhale, arms reach. And exhale, forward fold. Just go down as far as you like to. Maybe a half lift feels nice. Maybe bending a little more into the knees than we're used to, just to feel more of the front body, more of the torso droop down, finding a little more length in the back body from the place where the spine meets our hips, a little spaciousness there. Beautiful. Take really big breaths through that back body. Inhale, half lift, rib cage forward. And exhale, pull the belly in, hinge. Hinge so deeply so you can press those palms down and step back into a plank shape. So stepping back here, finding those shoulders over wrists, and then maybe pushing into those toes a little bit so we can lean a little bit beyond the wrists. Take another inhale here, stretching out those wrists. Exhale, up and back, hips up and back to a downward dog. Finding our downward dog, walking the feet in if we like to. Press the mat away from you. Inhale through the center of the chest. Exhale, pull that low belly in toward you. Tilt those hips a little bit more. Press into the heels. Beautiful. Inhale here. And exhale to lower the knees. Come back into a child's pose shape. Knees together or knees apart. You decide what you need here. Maybe we wrap our arms around to release our shoulders. Maybe we stack the hands underneath the forehead. Let's take 3 breaths or so here. Taking that moment in between a lot of stretch to take some time to integrate those stretches into the body. We'll inhale to reach our arms or hands really far forward, bringing our elbows up off the ground. So reaching those fingertips nice and far. Maybe our forehead reaches down. Feeling really open in the shoulders. Perhaps it feels really interesting to place the elbows down, to bring the hands into prayer, and draw the palms toward the back of the head. So we have a little more opening in our shoulders here. Oh, we can hear some of our volunteers. And just take 2 more nice good breaths here, maybe pressing into the ground with the elbows, feeling really long in the backs of the arms, in our tricep muscles. And 1 more great big breath, deep in your belly. And as we inhale, reaching the arms forward, pressing the ground away from you, and start to walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. Finding ourselves back into a tabletop. Tuck those toes, hips up and back to your downward dog shape. Pedaling the heels, swaying the hips, and just taking a moment for yourself as you need. Next time we inhale, send our right leg up and back. Big reach through the ball of the foot. Exhale the knee in and stepping toward the outside of the right hand. So let's go ahead and lower the left knee. So palms on the inside of that right leg and our wrists are shoulder width apart. Down on the knee on the left side, maybe tucking the toe, maybe not, that's up to you. So just taking a moment here and feeling a nice good stretch on the inside of the right leg. Beautiful. Planting through that left hand, reaching the right arm up toward the sky, coming into a nice good twist here. One more really big breath. And then exhale, bringing the hand back in toward the inside of the right leg. Let's go ahead and turn the right set of toes toward the right edge of the mat. So kind of turning them outward, walking the hands forward. So walking them just toward maybe the edge of the mat, or so that our arms are nice and long, and just letting the hips kind of sink forward. So bringing them square and toward the front of the mat. A little or a lot, it doesn't have to be a lot. Just letting the weight sort of fall down into the hips. Nice breath here, steady breaths. Let's do 3 more. In through the nose, out through the nose. Let the hips sink a little bit more. 1 more breath here. Beautiful. Start to walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. Bring that right set of toes back to point to the front of the mat. And we'll take ourselves into a different twist. So we're going to snuggle the right thigh into the outside of the right arm. Press the right arm in toward the ground and reach up through the left arm. Finding kind of a balanced twist here. So reaching up as much as we can, pressing the inside of the right leg toward the outside of the right arm so that maybe we're allowing our body to twist a little bit deeper. Beautiful. Bring that left arm back down, shoulder width apart. Let's go ahead and, if our left set of toes aren't tucked yet, let's tuck them, bring the knee up and step back to a plank shape. So taking a moment in our plank, let's move through our Vinyasa Flow or come right back to downward dog. Enjoying your downward dog for a couple more breaths. Beautiful. Reaching the left leg up and back on your inhale. Exhale, stepping that left foot toward the outside of the left hand. Help it through as you need to. Lowering the right knee down. Take a moment here to feel it out, feel that good stretch on the inside of that left leg. Maybe this is the perfect shape for you. So staying here if this feels really nice. Speaking to you in this shape. Pressing through the right hand, reaching the left arm up toward the sky, coming into a twist here. Beautiful. Exhale to place the left palm back toward the inside of the left leg. Wonderful. Pointing the left set of toes toward the long end of the mat. So we're just kind of pivoting, finding an anchor through the heel and pivoting the toes toward that side. And then walking the hands forward toward the front of the mat. Finding length in the arms, enough so we can bring those hips forward. So we're bringing the hips toward those hands, toward the front of the mat, nice and square. And just letting the hips fall down as much as feels useful to your body, needed for your body. Scale back if you feel any pain. Or if it feels like in a range of discomfort that just isn't worth it, then it probably isn't worth it. So getting to know our bodies with each posture, feeling guidance but also independence in how we need to move and how we need to honor our bodies. One more good breath, maybe dipping down a little bit farther. Beautiful. Walking those hands back in toward the inside of the foot. Start to turn the toes back toward the front of the mat. And then we'll get ourselves set for that sort of different twist. So making sure first that we're snuggling the inside of the left, we're on the left side now. Snuggling the inside of the left leg, squeezing it toward the outside of the left arm. And then using that strength and that little bit of kind of stability to reach up through that right arm and come into a twist. So a little bit more balance here. Squeeze the leg in, squeeze the arm into the leg, and find some twist. Looking in whatever direction makes the most sense for you. One more nice good breath here. And then exhale that right hand back down toward the ground. Let's pick up our right knee and step back into a plank with the left foot. Notice the differences here. Perhaps this plank just feels a little more comfortable. Maybe comfortable is not the word. Maybe familiar. Let's go with that. Maybe it just feels familiar. Pressing the ground away, pushing through the toes, leaning forward. Feeling a little familiar, a little stretch in the wrists. Beautiful. Inhale here. Exhale back to downward dog. Press through those palms to release the hands. Wonderful. Let's check on those shoulders for a moment. So let's lower the knees, bring the knees underneath the hips, bring ourselves down onto our elbows. So coming into a little bit of a melting heart, beginning of a melting heart shape. Bringing our forearms parallel with one another, about shoulder width apart. Pressing into the palms, into the finger pads, into the wrists and the forearms. Tucking the toes, picking up the knees and sending our hips up and back, lengthening out the legs. Let's walk the feet in slightly. Let the crown of the head start to point toward the ground and press firmly into the portion of the arms that are touching the ground. So all the way from our palms and our wrists and our forearms. Maybe walking the feet in toward yourself slightly. Maybe pressing the heels away from you. We'll just take a couple breaths here to really target our shoulders. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and lower the knees right where we are and start to walk the hands forward, keeping the hips over top of the knees. So we're just walking the hands forward, lengthening out, maybe coming down to the forehead. If we feel kind of flexible today, perhaps starting to look forward and resting onto the chin. Letting the heart melt down. Inhale to walk yourself forward, coming back into an all fours shape. Let's go ahead and bring the lower halves of the legs to the side and come to sit on our bums, swinging our legs toward the front of the mat. Anchoring into the heels, pressing into the backs of the knees, just finding sort of a comfortable shape here, tucking in the belly, lifting the heart up nice and tall, releasing the shoulders along our sides. Maybe the hands feel comfortable on our thighs, maybe they feel comfortable placed on each side of our hips on the ground. You decide. Inhale through the upper chest. Exhale, tucking the belly in. Feeling core strength here. Pressing our backs of our knees in toward the ground. So let's start to push and target a little bit of the knees and notice. So we're just going to press the backs of the knees down as much as we can and hold that tension through the legs for 2 breaths, pushing down. One more nice good breath here, pushing those knees down toward the ground. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and scoot ourselves down to about halfway down the mat. Bring our heels in toward ourselves. We'll just roll ourselves onto our backs. I'm going to move my mic away. Just rolling ourselves onto our backs and placing our heels nice and close toward our glutes, toward our bum, placing the palms along our side. Just taking a moment, bringing those feet hip width apart. Walking the fingertips toward the toes to create really long neck here. And then as we inhale, pressing the feet in toward the ground, lifting the hips up toward the sky, pressing into the backs of the arms if that's helpful for you. Aiming the knees away from our hips. Aiming our tailbone toward the knees. Tucking the chin if that happens with the body, pressing into the tops of the shoulders, coming into our bridge shape. Feeling really open through the front of the body, tailbone toward those knees. Breathing, ballooning that belly. Inhale to reach, push into the feet. And exhale to release the hips down toward the ground. Beautiful. Let's turn into a little bit of a flow, pointing our pinkies toward the ground, our thumbs to the sky. Let's inhale, reach the hips up, bring the arms up above the head, the thumbs toward the ground above our head. And then exhale, release the arms and the hips together. Just a couple times here. Inhale to reach up, to find that nice gentle back bend. And exhale to release. Let's do 3 more. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, scooping down. And 2 more. Inhale, reaching up. Tailbone toward those knees. And exhale, scooping down. Last time. Opening up, reaching, opening up our belly, finding that gentle back bend. And exhale, release down. Beautiful. Taking a moment here, planting through the feet. Let's walk the feet far apart from one another. Let the knees fall toward each other. Giving our spine a little bit of a break here. Beautiful. Walking the feet back in toward our bums, so back into that bridge shape. Move my equipment away a little bit so I can bring those hands down. So reach our hips up toward the sky on our inhale. Just reach those hips up, tailbone toward the knees. Let's interlace the fingers underneath the body and kind of tuck those shoulders underneath one another so we can press away and bring the hips up a little bit higher, pressing into the backs of the arms, the forearms, and the fists. Big inhale through that belly. And as we exhale, let's go ahead and set our hips over to the left side, so toward that left arm or on the left arm. So kind of moving maybe the feet too if you need to, shifting the hips over toward the side so that our interlaced fists are on the right side of our hips. So we feel quite a stretch in our arm perhaps. Maybe we feel a little gentle back bend in the lower portion of the back, and maybe we even feel a good chest opener here with the arm on the inside of the spine. Just letting ourselves release down a little bit here. If you needed to walk the feet over a little bit, feel free to do that. In through the nose and out through the nose. Let's walk the feet back if you needed to move them over. Lift the hips up nice and high, reaching up, bringing ourselves back center where we were. And then starting to walk the feet a little bit over to the right if you need to, placing the hips on the outside of the right arm or onto the right arm. And again, maybe we feel a little bit of depth in our shoulders. Maybe we feel a little bit of opening in the heart center, having that arm behind the shoulders. Maybe a little back bend in the lower portion of the back. Just slowing ourselves down here. Next time we inhale, let's pick up our hips, bring them back toward the center, walk the feet out, bring the hands out from underneath ourselves, and let ourselves kind of release down here. So let's walk our feet out, lengthen out the legs. If it felt nice to support the low back, feel free to keep the knees bent and support yourself by walking the feet a little wider. But if it feels really nice to lay in your Shavasana kind of flat and wide, take those feet a little wider, take those palms up toward the ceiling, thumbs roll out. And just enjoy in through the nose and out through the mouth. Let's make really tight fists with our hands, squeezing the fingertips in toward the palm. Really, really, really tight fists, and hold that really, really tight sensation for 2 breaths. So squeezing those hands, one more really, 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 really squeeze. And then open up those fingers, spread those fingers nice and wide, and then release the hands. Let's do that with our feet. So making fists with our toes, really squeeze them in, curl the feet in as much as you possibly can for 2 breaths. Notice and feel that tightness and that squeeze in the muscles. A really interesting sensation, maybe even on the edge of feeling a little bit discomfort. And then open up those toes, spread them really, really, really wide. Press those balls of the feet away from you. And then let the hands and feet roll away. Let's take a few moments in a little bit of quietness, a little bit of peace for yourself in your Shavasana. And I promise I'll bring you back when it's time to come back. And stay exactly where you are. Maybe you can hear the birds. Maybe, I hope they can be picked up on the microphone. There's so many of them out here. Just imagining you're outside. Again, feeling that warm air brush across our skin. And finally, summer is here. And start to wiggle your toes and your fingertips. And bringing the arms alongside the ears, reaching the fingers above our head. And the same thing, point your toes, fingers away from toes. Just a nice long stretch. Start to bend the knees, bring the knees in toward the chest. Give yourself a little squeeze, a little hug in child's pose, or knees to chest. Upside down child's pose, I guess. Beautiful. Let's roll ourselves over to the right side, making sure we have a little landing pad. So maybe a little pillow as our arm. Taking a breath or so. And lengthening out the left leg, pressing into the left palm, coming back up to a seated shape. So any easeful seat feels good for you. Maybe a cross-legged feels comfortable. Maybe staggering those ankles feels good for you. Let's revisit our seat. Notice if anything's changed. Something always changes after we practice yoga. Feeling the length of the spine. Perhaps we feel a little bit more core support. So we feel a little bit more structure in our seat, but we also feel a lot of softness because all of those muscles are awake and everything's aligned in where it's supposed to be. Let's take one more stretch, bringing our arms behind ourselves, interlacing the fingers, pressing the fists away from your tail and the shoulders away from the ears, send the chest forward, and then maybe start to lift the fists away, maybe sending the heart forward, hinging through the hips, just going into a nice little easy forward fold here. We can tuck the chin in if that feels useful to you, lifting the fists up off of your body as far as makes sense for you and your shoulders. One more nice breath here. Breathe in through that heart space as best you can. Feel that openness of the shoulders being behind you instead of in front of you, as they so often are in your gardening activities. And then pull those fists apart from you so that you're able to bring yourself back up, drawing the chest up. Release the hands, arms above the head, a big sun breath, hands toward the center of the chest. I invite you to place one of your hands on your heart space and one on your belly space, maybe even on your digestive space. Close your eyes. Take a big breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. In and out. My heart is at ease, knowing what's meant for me will not pass me by, and what passes me by was not meant for me. Let's bring our arms up in one last big sun breath together, hands toward the center of the chest. Take a moment to really thank yourself for showing up. Thank yourself for moving and creating flow in the body, connection with the breath. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.